If you're somebody who spends a lot of time taking care of a senior loved one, you may be with them even 24/7 because they live in your home or you live in theirs and you're taking care of them. It can be tough for you to find some time for yourself. Sometimes the demands of taking care of somebody are so overwhelming that you just need to catch a break. So, how do you do this? This is where respite care can be really helpful. Hi, this is Robin with SeniorSafetyAdvice.com, and I wanted to talk with you today about respite care for caregivers. So, why is respite care needed? Well, first of all, the Mayo Clinic says that caregiver stress is very common, so I don't want you to feel guilty if you feel like you need to get away from things. Doesn't mean you love your loved one any less, it just means that you have to take care of yourself. Sometimes we have to do that. The CDC says that being a caregiver and being under that stress that comes with caregiving can increase your own chances of an early death. It increases your stress level, and sometimes caregivers turn to things that they shouldn't, like psychotropic medications or drinking alcohol, using things to help them kind of deal with their own stresses. So we don't want it to get to that point for you. This is the time that you need to look into respite care. So one of the reasons that you need to take respite care is, again, your own, health, your own mental health and your physical health, but also for the relationships that you have around you. If you are a caregiver who has children, you may not be spending very much time with them. You may not be helping them with their homework. Right now we're dealing with COVID-19, so nobody's going anywhere, but if this was a normal time, you maybe would be missing some of their football games or their other sports events, things like that. Same goes for your relationship with your significant other. You may not be seeing them as often. When my mom was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor, my dad, of course, took care of her 24/7. But he was under such tremendous pressure and he was so anxious about it. He wanted to do the right thing, but he had never been a caregiver in his life. On top of that, he had to cope with the idea that he was going to lose the woman he'd been married to for nearly 70 years. So I spent as much of my free time with him as I possibly could to try and give him a break and to help out as much as possible. But as far as my relationship went, my husband, who understood and didn't have a problem with it, but I wasn't there, we weren't able to go out and do the things that we normally did, so that relationship suffered temporarily while I was helping. It's one thing if it's a temporary thing, like my mom's situation. She was diagnosed and given only 4 to 6 weeks to live. But when you're somebody who has taken care of a person for years at a time, you need to make sure that you're taking care of the relationships of those that you also have other than that parent. I know that puts a little bit more pressure on you, but you really do need to take some time for yourself. So how do you do this? How do you arrange for it? Well, first of all, in my mother's case, she was under hospice care. So hospice actually has a program for respite care for the caregiver of the person who is terminal. In my mom's case, the area hospital had a hospice wing, and we could have moved mom into that wing when they had an opening. They would let her stay for about 5 days. Dad would have a break, and mom would be taken care of by people that obviously knew how to take care of her. But not everybody is under hospice or has that ability to get care like that. So there are other options. First of all, as far as hospice is concerned, if your relative or loved one that you're taking care of is diagnosed with a terminal illness, it may not be something that they're going to pass away from like imminently, which is how we think of hospice. Hospice is for people who will probably pass away in the next 6 months. So it may be that you can get your loved one under a hospice program, which would allow for so many benefits. I mean, medications and things like that. You have a nurse that comes and checks on them every couple of days. I mean, there's a lot to it. But That person needs to be diagnosed as being terminal by a physician, and again, needs to have less than 6 months to live. There's an article that we've written. I'll put it up here, and I'll also put a link in the description below. But it talks about how or when you should call in hospice care. It's not always just for imminent death. Another thing to look into to help you would be the N4A, which is the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging. Try saying that 3 times fast. But they have resources. You can Google that. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. They have a lot of resources and can tell you things that are available in your area. Another way you can get some respite care is if you have the means, you can hire a company to come in, like Visiting Angels or something like that. They'll come in. In my mom's case, they came, I think it was every day, 4 days a week for 4 hours a day, but you can dictate what you need. They came in the morning and helped my mom with bathing and helped her get dressed. They did a little bit of light housekeeping and cooked breakfast and things like that. So it gave my father a break and a chance to kind of get out and get a little me time for himself. If you don't have the means for that, something else that might be available if the person is under Medicaid is to contact your Medicaid representative and see what programs they have available. In a lot of cases, they'll have an adult daycare type of a program. Again, I'm not sure exactly what they have going on at this point because of COVID-19, but if you happen to be watching this video 2 years from now, and hopefully we are past that, then I would tell you Medicaid would be an option for you to look into. Also, if the person is a veteran, VA, the Veterans Administration, they have some resources for respite care. It's the same type of a thing as my mother, where they would move the person into a nursing home just for a few days to give you a break. Sometimes they also have a program where somebody will come into the house, just like with a Visiting Angels or whatever, and they'll help with the person at that point. Again, allowing you to get a break. There's also the National Respite Network. Again, I'll put a link in the description, but they have access to caregivers and programs that would be in your area so that you could take advantage of them. Again, COVID-19, so I don't know about senior daycare programs, but most larger communities anyway will have a senior daycare program. Maybe the person can go to the senior center for a while. Depends on what their needs are, but it does give you an opportunity, if the person is able, to go to a program like that during the day, a day camp, daycare, summer camp kind of a thing, and gives you a chance to get out and do some things on your own. Lastly, if the loved one that you're caring for has Alzheimer's, you can get in contact with the Alzheimer's Foundation to find out what type of respite programs they would have, respite care programs that you could take advantage of. So, how about self-care? Say you don't even want to do the program, you just want a program, you just want to be sure that you're taking care of yourself. The first thing that I would counsel you to do is to make sure that you get your doctor visits. I know you're probably taking your senior loved one to all of their doctor's appointments, but just like the mom who doesn't get shoes because the kids need shoes or whatever, you find a lot of times when you are a caregiver that your needs come last and that person's needs come first. But you have to be in good shape so that you can take care of your loved one. I'm a dental hygienist, and in one of the offices that I've practiced in over my career, we made a habit of taking blood pressure readings on every patient. I had a lady one time who was in her early 80s. Her blood pressure was through the roof. Frankly, we probably should have called an ambulance for her because it was so high. So she and I had a long talk. She had not been to the doctor in a couple of years because her husband was ill. They were constantly going to his doctor's appointments. She knew she didn't feel well. She knew she'd had a lot of headaches and issues. She had no idea her blood pressure was that high. So I impressed on her, you have got to go and take care of yourself. You're not going to do him any good if you're laying in a hospital because you have a stroke. Then what's going to happen? She agreed. That's why I'm telling you this. You need to take care of yourself. In this case, she did go to the doctor. She did get blood pressure medication. And the next time that I saw her, her blood pressure was controlled and she was feeling much better. So please take care of yourself first. The other things that you can do, even if you just take short breaks, you may not need to take 2 or 3 days in a row, which is what a respite care program is more for. You may just need a short break. Make sure you're getting out and taking a yoga class or some other type of exercise class to help reduce your own stress. If the person is able to be by themselves for a little while, take some time to meet with your friends for lunch or pack a picnic lunch for yourself and go sit in the park or take a walk around the block. Anything that you can do to clear your head. I know just from the COVID-19 lockdowns and things that we've had, people have become very inventive with virtual things. So where you might not have considered it before, if you can't leave your loved one, it might be helpful for you just to have a virtual lunch with friends or a virtual chat. You could arrange a time and just, get on Zoom or get on Skype or whatever and just chat. And that way you're not isolated and your loved one's not isolated with you, which can cause resentment and again, a decrease in your own health. Remember, your priority is to take care of yourself so that you can better take care of your loved one. So I hope that this information has helped you. Again, check the comments below or the description below, and I'm going to leave all of the links to the things that I talked about. And we have a great article on respite care, so you can investigate that as well. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please drop any comments you have in the section below. If you have a topic that you can think of that you'd like us to do a video about, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscription button down in the corner there and then hit the notification bell right after. That way you'll be alerted every time we put out a new video, which we do once a week at least, sometimes more if there's something extreme going on, something different like COVID-19. So we hope to see you in the next video. Again, please subscribe. Take care until next time. Thanks. Bye.